Hey guys, my name is Aubrey and welcome to the channel. So this is my first video for this channel, and so I want to give a little bit of an intro as to what I'm wanting to accomplish with this channel, and then also give you guys the video topic for today. So I'm an entrepreneur based in Texas, and I do a lot of different projects. I have been an entrepreneur my entire adult life, and in the process of starting businesses and starting side hustles and starting projects, I've learned a lot, and I want to start passing that information on to other people so that they can avoid the mistakes that I've made along the way. I am 26 years old. I am not where I want to be quite yet. I'm not a millionaire or anything, but my goal is to be worth $1 million by the age of 30. And so I'm also kind of taking you guys along that road trip with me in order to get there. And so I have about 3.5 years to reach that goal. I have a lot of experience with franchising, a lot of experience with freelance work, like Upwork and things like that. And kind of my expertise, I would say, along with franchising is Turo, the peer-to-peer car rental platform. I have a successful Turo business, and I manage and own over a dozen cars on that platform. And so that's kind of my expertise. And so a lot of my YouTube videos will be about Turo. A lot of them will be about business coaches, franchising, real estate investing, and also different business moves that I'm making in order to get to that million net worth by the age of 30. So that's a little bit of background on me and this channel. I'm going to plan on having videos out every Tuesday and Thursday. So this is the first one. I'll have another one published this Thursday, and then it'll be consecutive from there. So that's the plan, 2 videos a week. We may adjust and add videos to that as necessary, but as we grow this channel and as we grow content, that's the plan, and then we'll adjust accordingly, of course. So before we get started, I would greatly appreciate if you could like and subscribe to this channel and like this video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm and will help get this channel off the ground. Right now, we're starting with barely any subscribers, but my goal is by the end of this year to get to 1,000 subscribers. So it'll be an exciting journey for sure. So in today's video, I want to talk about 5 things that you need to keep in mind before you rent your car out on Turo. These may be 5 questions that you need to have answered, 5 tips that I have, or just things that you need to do before even listing your car. And so let's get started. The first thing that you need to do before you rent your car out on Turo is you need to read the Turo Terms of Service. This is my #1 tip. It is the most important in my opinion, is you have to read the Terms of Service. The Terms of Service is a document that really outlines all of the rules, all of the regulations, and all of the guidelines that you have to follow as a Turo host. It is, in my opinion, the Bible of Turo. You should not rent out your car on Turo unless you've read the Terms of Service, and you shouldn't do anything before you do that. In the Terms of Service, there's everything outlined from what to do whenever you are doing a check-in, what photos you need to take, when do you need to upload them, and what time frame do you need to take the photos. It has all the information about fees, overage fees, mileage fees, gas fees, smoking fees. It has things like eligibility for vehicles, which vehicles are eligible, which ones aren't eligible. So the Terms of Service really needs to be treated like your Bible. Whenever I hear about people who fail at this business, a lot of times it comes to the fact that they made a really small mistake that could have been easily avoided had they read the Terms of Service. So before you do anything, before you even consider listing your car on Turo, read the Terms of Service, really understand the Terms of Service, and feel comfortable with the guidelines and regulations outlined in the Terms of Service. The second thing that you need to do and you need to understand is that your cars are going to get damaged. In my opinion, it isn't a matter of if, it is simply a matter of when. Your cars will get damaged on Turo. The fact of the matter is, people don't care about things that they don't own, and it doesn't matter how nice your car is, it doesn't matter how good of care you take of it, it doesn't matter how well you communicate this to your guests. They don't care about your car because they don't own it. And in my experience, I've had renters that are really good, who seem really nice, treat my cars like absolute garbage because it's not theirs. They don't really care. So the thing that is important with this is that if you have an emotional attachment to your cars, and if you haven't come to terms with the fact that your cars are going to get damaged, then you're just going to be a ball of stress and a ball of anxiety whenever it comes to renting out your cars. Because whenever your cars come back, they'll get damaged and they'll be dirty and they won't be as good as they were whenever you rented it out, and that will make you really upset. And so if that's you, if you're the type of person that really cares about that, then I would probably recommend not doing Turo, simply because it probably won't be worth the emotional toll that it will take on you. And that's okay. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But that's the second point, is that if you're thinking about renting out your car on Turo, make sure that you understand that the car is going to get damaged and it is going to be mistreated. This is especially important for people who are thinking about renting out nicer vehicles, where the cost to repair and maintain these vehicles is significantly higher. The third point is understand that maintenance and repairs are going to happen, and have a process in place in order to do that. I think that one of the keys to success for Turo, at least in my opinion, is having a background in cars. If I didn't know anything about cars and I had to take the car to a shop to get diagnosed every time there was a little issue, or I had to go to the shop every time the car needed an oil change or a filter change, or who knows, I would be spending so much money on repairs and maintenance on the vehicles and diagnostics on the vehicles that they would never make money. And the turnover wouldn't be as quick, the cars would be sitting out on repairs longer, the entire process would just be that much less efficient and that much more costly. So I think that if you are going to be renting out on your cars on Turo, you should probably learn basic knowledge of cars at the bare minimum, but you also need to have a kind of a process in place or a plan in place for what you're going to do to fix those cars. Whether it be maybe forming a partnership with a local garage, getting to know a local mechanic and befriending them and asking if they can help you out, or even like getting some sort of business discount with a local shop and having some sort of business relationship there. I think that going that route and having something in place is absolutely crucial to run a successful business on Turo. It's not crucial to just run a business, but if you want your business to be successful and as profitable as possible, I think that this is an absolutely crucial step. So the third step is to have a process in place for maintenance and repairs. The fourth thing that you need to consider before listing your car on Turo is what your area and your demographic is compared to what type of vehicle you have. The vehicle and the success of the vehicles are going to vary greatly depending on like where you're located. Like a car in Denver, Colorado is going to have different needs than a car in Dallas, Texas. And a car in Dallas, Texas is going to have different needs than a car in like Honolulu, Hawaii. So you need to understand like what type of car would work best in your area and what type of car can I afford, or what type of car makes sense for my business. And you shouldn't just get a car rented on Turo because that's what like the car that you specifically want. I think that there's a downside with Turo advertising specifically because they advertise on like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook about this idea that you can use Turo as a way to afford a car you wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. So for example, an advertisement that I've been seeing a lot lately is like a college student buying a Porsche 911 and he offsets the payments by renting it out on Turo 50% of the time. And in theory, that like idea works really well. Like in theory, you buy a Porsche 911 when you're in college, you rent it out on Turo 50% of the time, it's essentially a free Porsche. But that's not really how it ends up working, because things get damaged and there's wear and tear and there's maintenance and there's all those things, and that Porsche probably isn't going to get paid, like isn't going to make enough revenue to just like offset all of the costs. And so I'm a big believer that you shouldn't get your dream car on Turo. You shouldn't get your dream car and then rent it out on Turo to offset the costs. Instead, you should buy a car that makes sense for your area, list that on Turo, and then use those profits to put towards the car that you're really wanting to get. So my fourth tip would be get a car that makes sense for your demographic. Don't get a car that you just want, that you've been eyeing, that doesn't make sense for your area. If you live in Denver, Colorado, where it snows half the year, it probably isn't a good idea to get a small car like a Toyota Yaris. Whereas vice versa, if you live in Hawaii, like a convertible would probably make a lot of sense, whereas in Denver, Colorado, that same car wouldn't make a lot of sense. My number 5 tip would be do your research. I know a lot of people that join Turo and they do it off of like these ads that they see or these YouTube videos that they watch, and it's like kind of this over embellished reality of what running a business on Turo is really like. And running a business on Turo can be great. It can be really profitable, and I've experienced a great business with Turo. But it's not a glamorous business. It's like a very blue collar business. And I spend a lot of time changing oils. I spend a lot of time cleaning cars. I spend a lot of time doing those things. And that's not glamorous. It can sometimes be really gross. And so do your research and really think, okay, is this for me? There's a lot that goes into a successful Turo business. Anybody can rent their car out on Turo. Anybody can say that they're a Turo host. But there's a big difference between the successful hosts on Turo and the people who fail. And I believe that the people who make it work are the people that hustle, the people that are willing to set their cars at all hours of the day so that they can be rented out 24/7, the people that clean their cars between each rental, the people that check them in individually each rental, the renters that have a process, or the hosts that have a process in place for their cars so that the operations can run nonstop 24/7, 365 days a year. And once you get that process in place, it's amazing and it becomes fairly passive, but getting to that point can be hard. And so that's my fifth tip for you, is do your research, like look up YouTube videos, look up Facebook groups. There's a lot of great Facebook and Reddit threads of really good informative information for Turo, and make your own assumption and be realistic with it. Because I think the number one thing with Turo where people fail is they jump in a little bit too ambitiously and they haven't done their proper research, and they end up being disappointed because people might buy a high-end luxury car and expect for it to make $5K a month, or they buy 3 cars and expect to make $10K a month. Like, that's just not going to happen, even with a Lamborghini or Ferrari. So that's my final tip. Do your research, be realistic with yourself, and set realistic expectations. I'm a big believer that anybody can be successful on Turo. It doesn't take a genius to understand the business model. It just takes some good business knowledge, hard work, and just a willingness to learn and to be proactive about these things, and you can for sure be successful in Turo. Again, this is just advice based on my own experience. I'm not saying that you're 100% going to be successful in Turo. That's not what I'm saying, so don't walk away from this with this information. But this is coming from the opinion of I would say, a fairly successful Turo host, myself, and somebody who's had a really good experience with the platform. So thank you guys for checking out this video. Again, I'll have new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. I'll cover everything from Turo to Upwork to franchising and everything in between. I have a lot of content planned about Turo specifically, and so if you're interested in learning more, stay tuned, hit that subscribe button. I'll have a lot of content coming in the future about the platform and how to run a successful business on the platform. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.